Well, good evening on this wonderful December 4th, 2025, the year of our Lord, where I'm in Florida and it was 82 degrees today. I am very thankful for that. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was great. Mine was fabulous because I went out to eat and I did not need to cook or clean or do any of those things that, well, I don't like doing. I also don't like turkey, so that also makes things a lot better. So there's been a lot of things happening this week. Not a super lot of things with old cars, which kind of happens, but hey, it's just kind of a dead time of year because we had the mechanic show happen, which was pretty phenomenal. And there's gonna be an indoor, I think there's a giant indoor show soon. Hey Anthony, how you doing? Um, and I'll probably be talking about that. But honestly, it's a lot of newer car news and a lot of it relating back to classic cars. And up north, I know a lot of people are working on their cars because this is the time you do it because, well, you can't drive them. I'm running to the same thing because this weekend I wanted to take my cars out, and oh yeah, it's going to rain both days. Congratulations, Jamie, how you doing? Um, and so you know, and before I even get into it, what I've really been dealing with on my charger more than anything else is I'm dealing with an electrical problem charging on my charger. Funny how this is common on Chryslers because Chrysler built the worst charging system in the history of mankind. Because it would be okay with an external regulator if the wires from the back of the distributor, the back of the alternator ran straight to them and really didn't go anywhere else, but they go everywhere else in the car and you end up getting shorts and stuff like that. And yeah, it's driving me crazy. It's putting out about 14.9, 15 volts, which is not horrid, but it's bad enough that I don't like it. And yeah, so I've been going crazy. Now I'm thinking that it's the Chinesium ignition switch I put in. And ignition switches on this car are a nightmare because you have to take the steering wheel off and you have to depin everything. You take the pins out of the little connector and pull it through the column because that's the way Chrysler engineers did it. And then you have to feed it back through the column and repin it and then put it back together and hope I don't get another good, bad Chinesium thing. Because on Chryslers, all the power runs through the ignition switch. Great success. So yeah, you have 12 volts and whatever amps coming into that switch. It's great. So that's why the connectors burn up on them. That's on fire point, and more than the amp meters. Amp meters are a fire point if they get old and brittle, or you just don't know how to tighten them, and they're loose, and then they'll catch fire. It's great stuff. So it's fun having an old car. And I just had a video on my buddy Bobby and his wonderful Roadrunner that has EFI on it, and it's been that was a nightmare, and I'm glad I didn't add that type of nightmare to my life. So I'm okay. I'll deal with the old Chrysler nightmare of not being have the car charge properly. So that's just the fun and games of having an old car. And tomorrow, God willing, on Friday, I will be welding the connector for my rear sway bar on my BMW, and I'll be doing a little video on that. So that's gonna be cool. So yeah, let's get into a little bit of this fun stuff that's happening. I got some fun stuff, then we're getting into the death of the EV. We'll roll into the death of the EV because that's gonna be. I'm so excited over this. Hey, 2D's Larry, how you doing? I saw your comment. Yeah, I think you're misunderstood. It's the Oldsmobile 350. That thing ruined diesels forever in America. Good Lord. And I just put out a short because I couldn't really get a hold of the owner, and I was at a show. It was actually a diesel Mark 7, and I was so excited. So here is something neat that came out. This is Revology, and I did a story on them a long time ago. It may have been one of my first lives because they actually have they're copyrighted to make Ford classic products, continuation products, and they're doing a 429 Boss Mustang, so it's like a 69 or 70, except they're kind of doing it very modern, has the modern dash, and I hate the steering wheel. It's a leather steering wheel, but I just don't like the look of it. Modern 5-speed, has all the little kitsch that you would have in a modern car, but this one comes with a Coyote in it, and not just any Coyote. It's a Dark Horse, as from New York, a Dark Horse Coyote with a supercharger thrown on top, because why the hell not? So this makes 710 horsepower through a 5-speed transmission. And the thing is, the Coyote's gigantically wide, but it's no wider than the original 429 was. The original 429 was tight in here, and they got it to fit. And it's actually kind of neat. I mean, when we get to the price tag, it comes a little less neat, but it's kind of neat because you get a modern brake master cylinder. You get all the modern cooling on it. You get all this kind of neat stuff, and it looks cool. You get LED lighting and great suspension, and a Mag 500 wheels, which look like 17s. And it's a really great looking car. Rack and pinion, a Ford 8.8, which is what my truck has. You can't break those. It's awesome. Great looking car, and it can be yours for $395,000. So if you could have $395,000 to start, could be yours. Granted, real Boss 429s are $700,000. So I guess, and you could drive this one. I just don't know how you insure it. It's kind of weird. It's like you have to do it as a collector. So yeah. So that's kind of one thing I saw so far, and this was kind of interesting because we all use oil, and Castrol is now looks like it's being pawned off from BP to Stone Peak. Don't know much about Stone Peak, but they're kind of it's weird that BP seems to be getting out of the direct consumer product at this point. They're unloading Castrol. They're going to keep the gas refining, and they also Stone Pack also Peak Pack. See, it says Stone Pack here. Stone Peak bought a big chunk of Phillips 66, and which is kind of interesting. So this company is now becoming a major supplier to consumers. Oh, hi Benjamin, how you doing? I'm actually doing a video on really crap cars in the 80s, and none of your cars were there. So that should be, they should be happy about that. So good to see you. So this is interesting little news. Oh yeah, and I guess, should I start there? No, I'll move this down. We'll move this down because we'll start here. No, we'll start here. What the hell? I hate this. I have here these ads everywhere. Okay, so Ford has actually been doing a lot. Ford actually is releasing, and I have a feeling this is coming to fruition, an 800 supercharged Mustang package, just like what they did with the Maverick, where it's a dealer installed, like a Stadia, one of those things, upgrade to your Mustang. It's a bronze Magna Ride package. It puts a 3-liter supercharger on there. You upgrade the wheels and whatnot. And this was shown at SEMA a few times, and it appears that this car is going to come to market. I mean, honestly, that you're going to be getting literally Shelby levels of power on your Mustang Dark Horse, but without paying the full Shelby price. It's probably going to be pretty expensive. I'm probably going to be $30,000, but it's going to be fully warranted by Chrysler. By Ford. No, Chrysler doesn't warranty anything. So this is actually kind of a neat thing that came out in the past week. And then I was playing with my I can still use my convertible right now. And well, it's allegedly my daughter's, but one day. Uh, this was kind of interesting, but it was kind of weird. These are once steep, now cheap, 7 convertibles that are worth another look. And this one, the Mustang GT, though, from the early 90s, is very late 80s, early 90s, is very expensive. So I don't know. It's very weird. Like they had what they picked was quite strange. Um, they gave like a $30,000 threshold for a number 2 car. And first they started off with the Corvair. And the Corvairs are really cool, and there is a big aftermarket. I guess you can buy one of these for upper 30s, upper 20s. And, the Volkswagen things, which, are becoming very popular, are under 30. Very, very utilitarian, though. And, what about Al? How you doing? Good to see you. At MGA. Here we go. The 87 and 90 Chevy Camaro IROC Z convertible. The thing is, these are fairly expensive now. And the 83 to 90 Mustang GT. All these cars are really expensive, which is weird. They have these foreign cars, but they don't have the 1993 to 1999 BMW 3 Series, which is what I have. I have a 325. And those cars, and I'm just going backwards, and those cars are like, $6,000, $7,000 for a nice car. And the thing is, outside of all these cars, you're getting a $30,000 to get a convertible. You could buy a decent convertible with a BMW engine, a really good gear track transmission in it, if you get the stick, and I would suggest that, for like $7,000. And parts are readily available for this car. So I'm kind of confused by this list, and I just wanted to kind of go through it because, I will brag, I've been able to drive a convertible lately. It's been nice. And, your IROC had T-tops. Actually, the T-tops are harder to find now than the convertibles because those bodies is twisted. The convertibles were really reinforced, and the T-top ones weren't, which is a shame. It was such a neat thing. T-tops were a great thing from, the mid-70s to the end of the 80s, early 90s, and then they've disappeared. I may actually do a video on it because it's so weird, because it was literally the most prominent thing you can see on any car, especially a high-performance car in the 80s. It was everywhere. The Nissan, was it 280s? That was common on those. Let's start on the fun here. Okay. So we're going to continue with the Ford thing, because Ford's gas Mustang nearly outsold the entire EV lineup, which pretty much says it all. And the thing is, the Mustang has been having a miserable year at this point. And the reason for that is the car is very expensive. Mustangs are over $40,000. And for being useful, they're not. See, that's what you gotta do. Love having T-tops, of cranking the music, speeding down the highway. That's the way to do it. That's what I do with the convertible. I feel like I'm in high school. It's great. So the Mustang's been having a miserable, and it isn't because people don't want it. It's because A, the insurance is pretty high on these cars, and B, to get a GT, it's $50,000, starting at 50. And for a car that basically is a 2-seater that has absolutely the most useless back seat in the world, it has some good storage space. But I mean, honestly, in cold climates, it's a horrible car to drive in the winter. And hey, Vintage 76, how you doing? It's really, it's not what it was 10 years ago, because it's very expensive now. 10 years ago, a GT was $30,000. This is psychotic. But this just shows the state of EVs without government help, without the tax break, where you and I are paying for someone else's car, because that's what it ends up being. Tax breaks are, you and I are paying for someone else's car. And that's ridiculous. No one else has helped me pay for my car. I've had to pay for my car out of my pocket. Yeah, Jamie Cotton, vanilla ice right around my 5.0 with the rag top down so my hair can blow. Nice, good rhyme there. Um, so the thing is, the, like the truck, the F-150 Lightning was a miserable seller, and the Mach-E was a marginal seller, but Ford lost $50 to $60,000 in every last one they sold. And the F-150, I never found the number, but I imagine it's probably in the same realm of $50 to $60,000 per vehicle. The Ford EV unit is losing $5 billion a year. Hey, 4339JK. Cool. Good to see you. So they sold, and Ford has 3 EVs. They sold 4,200 Mustangs, and they only sold 4,247 EVs. And honestly, this Ford staying in this business. I know that Farley has run around. He says he's going to make an inexpensive EV, costs $30,000. It's never coming, because this Mach-E, which really isn't, it isn't really all that, is they lose 60 grand on every last one they sell, and it's been out for a couple of years, and they still lose 60 grand on them. So this is really at the point where you just can't imagine that they're going to continue on with this money loser, because here's Ford actually does monthly still. Stellantis does not do monthly sales, and I won't know Stellantis's sales for October, November, and December until January, so we can see how bad the Charger EV did for the full year, because it's pretty bad. But if you look here, their electric vehicles compared to normal, let's just say normal, they sold an entire 78,000 of them, which sounds like a great big number until you look at Ford sold 2 million vehicles this year. I mean, that is literally just a nothing. It's a nothing percent, and it's down from last year. And Ford's sales went up over the last year. This is just what a minority these cars truly are. And the people that wanted them, and fine, good for you. That's great. You have it. Just I don't want it. And most people don't want it, because the biggest seller from Ford is SUVs and trucks. And I mean, that's just literally what they've been forced into. And even look at this. The Bronco is probably going to come close to outselling the Jeep Wrangler. 132,000 of them. Absolutely amazing sales. And no, it is not for everyone. And it's for like 8% of the population. That's what they're selling. I mean, look at this. Your Bronco, so that is not a fuel efficient vehicle by any stretch of the imagination. And its sales went up 36% this year. The Mach-E was only up 6.7. It's still modest sales though, way outsold by the Bronco. The Explorer sold 200,000 units. The Expedition actually increased almost 78,000. So, and then the F Series is 750,000 vehicles so far this year. So I mean, it's a giant, the whole Ford cars, the Mustang. It's a giant leap to say that the EV was even a remote success when a normal car company went in with full intentions, because they were forced to, and they couldn't make it work. I mean, Ford really did try. I mean, they tried real hard with this Mustang Mach-E. They tried very hard with it. And they literally went, and they've lost $5 billion every year that this has been in existence. And it really is showing how bad, how bad it is. Because here's a follow-up article I found on S&P Global with a lot of paywall. And this is why this is so bad for the rest of us. Oh, 2 Diesel Larry, that's coming up next, baby. That's coming up next. I love that one. They're going to lose $5 billion. Well, see, here's this. Got to go back to your high school economics at this point. In high school, you learned the guns and butter curve. It's the same thing with automobiles. You only have so much resources to be able to make things for your consumer. And this is not just new cars, this is also parts. We're going down the line because those EVs steal parts that would be put on combustion cars, like normal cars. And it's including old cars. It's including my classic car, because the the, the whole the whole supply chain, as they like to call it, was being forced to make something that no one wanted. And it took a lot of production energy and a lot of capital to go and make those specialized parts, which then hurt cars that needed replacement parts. That's why it's so hard. If you have any type of normal car, it's hard to get parts for it. If you have a classic car, it's a nightmare. I mean, literally, and it's because it literally trickles down from this, that the resources that are being used to make these, these social status machines, because that's all an EV is, and it takes away. And you have Ford that's lost $10 billion. That's real money. This isn't forecasted. Oh, we didn't make. No, they lost real money, and they think they're going to try to bring a $30,000 EV into this world. How? You're losing money every quarter with this. You're losing money every year, and it's not great. Another incredible. Where is it? Did I move it? Where did I move it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. We'll get to this 2 diesel, Larry. Yeah. Let's Jaguar, yeah. So Jaguar went and said, you know what, we're going to go full electric. And they hired this clown, and he did all the marketing and the designing and all this type of stuff. And this is what he came up with, this hideous monstrosity of a block of uninteresting. And this is the car company that had brought out the E-Type, which is probably the sexiest Jaguar ever made. And this block of yuck was put out there, and this is the guy that made that car. He looks like the guy that would make this car, actually. To be very honest, he really does look like that type of guy. And I mean, Jaguar basically had to stop production of everything. They literally had to really relook at everything. Now they are actually lost a whole year now, because this guy made this car that no one wanted, no one needs, and everything in this is an absolute disaster. They went a little too far, man. They went full, and you remember they went full retard. And remember, in Tropic Thunder, they said don't ever do that, and they did, though. And they did badly at this point. So basically, this guy made this car that no one wanted. It's all electric, as the electric grift was coming to an end. So now Jaguar is basically running around in circles trying to figure out how to make cars. They are absolutely and utterly screwed at this point. And I mean, Tata owns them. They own Tata owns Jaguar and Land Rover. They're a pretty big company, but I can't imagine Jaguar recovering well from this. They're already now way behind BMW and Mercedes and Audi, because those guys never gave up their regular cars for the electric dream. And even there have gone and kind of BMW and Mercedes and Volkswagen Group, actually the major players in Germany, have gone and wow. And I all of a sudden can't read the article. Okay. Because they've gone to their German chancellor and they went, yeah, you know what? We can't do this. We need to make gas engines because that's what people want at this point. They have gone to them So even in Germany, the electric, dream is dead because they have no way to actually. And I hate when they do this. They do paywalls behind everything. It wasn't paywalled before, but honestly, this is where it has gone for them. They have literally wanted. Oh yeah, a vintage '76 Viper Green Beetle. Yes, I heard Toyota wants to sell small cheap cars here, and the president wants it out. Yes. Oh, what are those called? Hold on a second, because this is actually pretty. Because people have been importing these cars for a while. The come on, somebody help me. I'll just do the how Kai cars. They're called Kai cars. So it's these things. Now, these are actually really cool, especially if you are like in the city. And actually, I see them. I see the older ones here in Tampa, and actually, they have little pickups and all of these Kai cars, and they're very they're not going to set any speed records. They're not all that flashy, but they're very ergonomic on the inside, just like anything Japan makes. It's ergonomic, and you know the other thing is we have a lot of rules here that make it impossible for these foreign cars to come here, and it's silly stuff. And honestly, if we rolled back a lot of our safety things, besides the fuel economy, which really should be eliminated, cafe needs to be eliminated. People would buy, even without a cafe standard in America, people would buy these cars if you lived in a city, or if you just had a short commute, or if you just, if you had to go from here to there. This would be like these little trucks I see everywhere in Tampa. And Toyota can easily ramp up and build these in America if we let them, be able to actually make these and not have the insane safety standards, which really don't do anything except raise the price of vehicles. This is a really great idea, and this is a way for people to get something they want. Because honestly, if you're I remember when I was in college, and gas was cheap, but I had a 40 XP. I had a 40 XP. It's literally what I had when I was in college. I didn't drive my Charger. I had a 40 XP. I got 28 miles to the gallon with that. When you're in college, it's really a big deal. I mean, it was slower than hell, but this is really honestly a car that can be cheap. And if you start cutting back all the stuff you want to force put into cars, this car could be $15,000. That's well within the reach. It probably does have 7-inch tires. I think they're 12s. I think that's what it ends up being on, is like 12s. But I mean, honestly, these are very, very good idea. And America just has gone so away from this. And honestly, it has cost us as the consumer a lot of money, because now we have cars that are, very expensive because of the way they are, having to be designed, that they're massive, and that they have to try to get fuel economy by being big. And it really is counterproductive. So this is actually hopefully this will happen, because they're already the 25-year-old ones are already being brought to the United States, because once it's over 25 years old, it doesn't need to be federalized, as they say. So the American government, their safety standards basically disappear when the car is 25 years old. Isn't that funny? So yeah. Hi, Sue Am. You can't see it. I have the hat's back there. So how you doing? Let me see. Diesel Larry. Dennis, you hear anything about Mercedes pulling out of China? The government CCP wanted to be on the board of directors. China is a really bad country to do business with. They don't follow any standardized rules of Western society, because China plays the long game and they win at any cost. It's, they've kind of been around for a few thousand years. It's kind of a thing with them. and anybody that does business with them gets ripped off. So I would imagine Mercedes is probably going to try to find a way to leave. BMW had the X5 and the 5 Series and the 7 Series ripped off by China. They actually went as far. The only thing they didn't put is the Rondell on the hood. It literally is the same vehicle. They reverse engineered the whole thing. So that I'm not surprised with, especially with everything going on. The thing is, I think that the Chinese are dumping their cars to countries that accept them at this point because their home market is a disaster. Oh, that's right. FYI, DJ's Classic Garage parent company is Matsushita from Japan. Yes, that is correct. We're a subsidiary. Yes, made in China is poor quality. That's why I call it Chinesium. I actually did a video on Chinesium. Because it is Chinesium. I have Chinesium in my car. It's really sucky. So we actually touched on this last week, and this is continuing with the absolute bashing of electric appliances because I don't like them. I don't like that I was having to be forced to pay for them, and I really just don't. You see what I'm see back there? See the hat? I got it. See, I got it. I wear this stuff out. People like it. They're so cool. But yeah, interlude. I did update. If you hadn't noticed, up in the corner, I have updated my my main logo. Look at that. See that? And I even came out with some neat, funny shirts here, like on the 8th day that God made the 340. So if you have a more per person, this is kind of a great shirt for them. Still could buy for Christmas. Still could get for Christmas. I should make a puzzle shirt. I should, because puzzles right here on my lap. Dennis is mad at the blenders. Yes, I am. Yeah, I need to make like a puzzle shirt and have like official cat of the car crowd, because she's literally on my lap making me sweat right now. It's not a pleasant thing. So this is something we touched on last week, and it's much worse than I thought it was. So speaking of electrics, our wonderful post office ordered a bunch of electric vehicles. The government, gave them some money and told them to order these electric vehicles. They gave them $3 billion, and they've made 612 trucks so far. This is over 2 years ago that this started. Yeah, that's actually what the shirt I'm wearing right now. If I had a cat and didn't have a cat on my lap, I would show you. It's one of my favorite. Puzzle your mascot T-shirt, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put her on the back of the T-shirt. It's just like car cats. Yeah, dogs like trucks. I think cats like cars. My other cat actually we found him in a car, but that's a whole different story. Though it's 33s in New York, and that shit is going under a hoodie. I actually have hoodies for sale on here we go, on DJ's Classic Garage .myspreadshop.com. Yes, there actually are hoodies for sale. Just to let you know. I always the promoter. You can buy yourself a hoodie for Christmas. You can still get them in time. No, it's on. I have the link down below. DJ's Classic Garage on my spreadsheet. I think I have the link on Radio Gunk also. Amazon has EV vans too. Yes, and they've been catching fire. That's been a thing. Actually, they catch fire when it's hot out. Because batteries, electricity, it's a thing. So yeah, so the USPS has ordered these things. They have 600 of them built for $3 billion. And this is remember, the U.S. Postal Service loses about $9 billion a year, our post office. And They were told that they were going to build 35,000 of these trucks, and this is 3 years ago. This is Oshkosh, by gosh. They've made 612 for the cost of $4.9 million a piece. $4.9 million a piece, each one of these EVs. And by the time they're done, they're going to actually be having to trash them. The funny thing is the Grumman Forever vehicles, they complain about them, but they've been using them for 30-something years. I don't think you can get 30 years out of this vehicle. You can't. An EV, you can't get 30 years out of it. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Instead of spending another $1 billion in EV fleet that's lost in mail, it's time to pull the plug on the boondoggle and return the money to sender, the taxpayers. And that was I believe a senator from Iowa, Joni Ernst. So basically, here's the vehicle, and they have literally just not gone anywhere. And this is the silliness of EVs and the cult of EVs, because it's a cult. I did one of my first videos was on the cult of EVs. Is that they have they literally went and did this because it would be greener and healthier, even though you could have used natural gas powered vehicles like GTE, the phone company. Actually, that's mainly what they used for their fleet of trucks. That's correct. My shirts and hoodies do come in sassy green and ladyboy pink. Actually, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And instead of going and using natural gas, which is plentiful in the United States, can be stored, is fairly safe because everybody has a barbecue. Seriously, a propane powered vehicle is no more dangerous than your barbecue. It really isn't. And they get okay fuel economy. But the thing is, it costs nothing to operate them. The engines actually run forever because natural gas is very clean. So you don't have contaminations in the oil. The oil can last longer in the vehicle because it doesn't get contaminated. You can do oil changes 10,000 miles in those without even worrying about damaging anything. And it's kind of sad that this is the stupidity that we're on the hook for. This $10 billion to an organization that loses $9 billion a year. That the math doesn't add up. And, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all for them to build. I mean, I can understand the usefulness of this, but if this was just natural gas powered, it would be fine. It would last forever. Literally, you build this out of. You want to spend money? Build this out of stainless. You put a 6-cylinder inline 6 natural gas engine in here, and you could drive this thing for 1 million miles. The Grumman long life vehicles, which were from 1987, which are still used today. They say they're expensive to maintain, loud, fuel inefficient, and have been known to burst into flames. Well, these are going to burst into flames also because that's what electric cars do. They burst into flames that you can't put out. See the Oshkosh ones though, they have water leaks. That's not good. And basically, the people at Oshkosh said this. This is the bottom line. We don't know how to make a damn truck. So this is who our government gave our money to on a boondoggle for an electric appliance. And now we are absolutely just, we're out a lot of money because of this. And this is insanity. And the post office, of course, has to run around and try to save face. They have 21,000 commercial off-the-shelf vehicles by the end of 2028. I don't know how much those are going to cost a piece, but I would imagine that a Jeep Gladiator would cost hell of a lot less than what those things cost. This is the growing. This is what my neighborhood we have, and it's fine, you know. And then they so they say they have 14,000 already purchased. Is the little thing there, but um, here we go. So the post office lost 9.5 billion last year. They'll probably lose the same this year. But most of these electric vehicles they have now can't work because they can't do these routes that I think they use like Ford Transit electrics, which don't have a big range, and they can't and they literally don't have the range to be able to go and use them. So basically, I saw it somewhere in this article, thousands of them just sit. And I can't imagine where I live. It's kind of rural, it's like suburban Florida. And honestly, to drive the routes, it's like maybe 50, 60 miles of just constantly stopping, going. You have a lot of, and you have in between, you have, 50-mile-per-hour roads, a lot of accelerations. I can't imagine that these things would actually last the day, especially with air conditioning on, because you have to have air conditioning because it is hot. I just can't fathom how this is even a thing. And so this is the complete and utter failure of our U.S. Post Office, which is embarrassing. The post office, there's so many uh, there's so many good people that work there, and it's just run so poorly that there's no way to ever make it right. And this just shows we're just dumping money. Um, yeah, that looks really bad. It looks really bad. Something like Bob's Burgers. Yeah. Why hasn't industry embraced natural gas? Because there was a war on natural gas. The last administration basically made it was like the most dangerous thing on God's green earth is natural gas. And it's the most plentiful thing we have in the United States. We have one of the largest supplies of natural gas in the world. And they just had a war on natural gas. It's politics. It's absolute nonsense. And honestly, especially for industrial like the post office, it is a perfect thing because on a gas car, a regular gasoline car, one of the reasons you have to change your oil is it gets contaminated. And it gets contaminated with the gasoline. No matter how good your car is built, there's always going to be gas that's going to pass by the rings. Or the vapors are going to get mixed in with the oil through the PVZ system or into the crankcase, because it just will happen. And that's why you have to change your oil, and you should change your oil no more than 7,000 miles. I wouldn't go. I've never gone more than that on anything I've owned, and I sure as hell wouldn't want anybody to go 15 to 20,000 miles on their oil, because that's insane. No, and these oil filters saying your last 20,000 miles is absolute snake oil. Buy a really good filter, which would be like a Canon, a Wix, a Baldwin. There was somebody who did a test, and the Baldwin actually didn't rate that high. It was rated high, but the Wix rated pretty high, and the Napa Gold did, and the K&N is actually phenomenal. And the pricing of them is not that different. Yes, Benjamin, every car has gasoline for 4 years. The gasoline is flammable. Correct. Gasoline is flammable if you let the vapors build. That is actually when gasoline is dangerous. If you have a full tank of gas, it's harder for that car to catch fire. If you have an empty tank of gas, there's fumes in there. Fumes is what burns. You can take a bucket of gasoline and throw a match in it. It will not light. Trust me, I've tried it. It won't light. But if you have a thing of all fumes and throw a match in there, it will go poof. Really, really bad. Yes, Sudies, Larry. I kind of touched on that. The current administration rolled back EPA emissions levels. Yes. Unfortunately, they didn't go far enough. In my eyes, being very libertarian, CAFE and EPA need to go away. They serve no purpose except to be impediments to the market. Because before we had them, the market did a good job. Because if you think about it, in the late 60s, gas was still cheap. But if you were a person that, didn't have a lot of money and, you bought a car for 2 grand and you don't want to spend more than $10 a week in gas, you bought a slant six. And when you bought that slant, uh, if you bought that slant, you got great fuel economy. You got in the 20s, especially in a Dart. You got in the 20s with that. And it was fine. It was a simple engine, very easy to repair, extremely durable. And the consumer was the winner there because you had a car that honestly any shop could fix it. Any home mechanic with any type of skill can repair it and keep it going. It was not a difficult thing to do, and it was very efficient. But unfortunately, with the cafe standards coming in as an overreaction or planned reaction in the 70s and ramping up, and I actually did a video on that too. Imagine that. And the way they ramped them up was insane. They were trying because American manufacturers had no ability to turn on a dime, and that's actually one of the things that helped destroy, um, helped destroy the Chrysler, because Chrysler was not even in closely at any position to make a high fuel efficiency car like they needed across the board. Chrysler had the slant. That's what they had. They had the slant, and the 318 was semi-efficient when you put the right gearing in it. You can get 20 on the highway, but the thing is, Chrysler got killed by that. They really did, and that was one of the things that they were trying all along to make things to be able to catch up. That's why they came out with the lean burn system, which, if it had the technology had actually been there, would have been a phenomenal system. Unfortunately, the technology was not there. And it was one of the worst ignition systems ever made. I mean, it was unreliable to the point where people just put in a regular ignition box in the car. And it made very weird cars come out, the Volare and the Aspen. I was just trying to make them, because you had to cut corners somewhere. They cut them in the body, Yeah, and yes, they weld full of fuel tanks full of diesel. Yeah, diesel. Oh my God, to make diesel burn, you gotta do something to make diesel burn. It's already got to be a hot fire to make diesel burn, because it's basically heating oil. I mean, it takes a lot to make it burn. That's why it's one of the safest fuels out there, and the exhaust on a diesel is basically a campfire. It literally is the same consistency as a campfire. Yeah, they still have to get 27 to 34 miles a gallon, not 50. It's still too much. It's still too much. Hey, Eric, Eric's on. Eric's on news on me. Okay, hi, how you doing? So it literally, it's literally insanity at this point that it's still there. The way to actually make cars come down in cost, roll back the safety, roll back get rid of cafe. You have to get rid of this stuff, because you're literally adding thousands to the price of a car. Everything that gets added to the car makes it more expensive. Think about this for a second. When they went and they jacked them up under administration from 2008 to 2000, was it 16? They jacked them up hard. That's when we got rid of. That's when we started getting this turbo turbo gas engines, the 4-cylinders and the 6s, that basically don't last 100,000 miles. I mean, it's hard. That BMW 320 with the 4-cylinder, that's not a 100,000 mile engine. Even the new one isn't very good. It's the 328. That's still not a 100,000 mile motor. Think about that for a second. So how is that? And that's always been my point. How is that much more efficient and good for the planet when a car becomes useless at 80,000 miles and you have to buy one 5 years later? Can you actually explain to me how that's actually better than having something that is well made, just regular engine, not a lot of horsepower, but can go and get 40 miles to the gallon and then last 20 years? Can you explain that to me? Yeah, small engines can easily do 30. Yes, they can. Even without turbos on them, they can. They're just not fast. Like my EXP, I talked about my EXP. That car was slow. I mean, it was what 80 horsepower, 80 horsepower engine in it from a from an Escort. But the thing is, it was just normally aspirated, was not straining hard, and literally I got between 26 and 34 with that car with a 4-speed, not even a 5-speed, I had a 4-speed in it. And I got around 30 miles to the gallon with me driving, and I'm not the most fuel efficient driver on the planet. I mean, I found out where red line is in that car. I knew where it was. I would shift that car at 5 grand, and I'd still get that type of fuel economy. But it just wasn't fast, and it couldn't do over 90 miles an hour. But the thing is that the engine was durable. That little 4-cylinder that's the 2.3 liter, and they still use it today. But that 2.3 liter without any boost on it is fairly indestructible. It really is. If you do maintenance on it, they had timing belts. You change timing belt on it. You would last a very long time because it wasn't boosted, and it just was a good sized engine compared to the car it was in. Same thing with my 89 BMW. It has 2.5 liter inline 6 in it. Has 250,000 miles on it. Original engine. You know why it has 250,000 miles on it? Because it's a 2.5 liter engine in a 3,000 pound, well, originally 3,000 pound car. Now it's a 2,500 pound car. So that's kind of where we are with, why a lot of this stuff with fuel economy and the electric stuff, electric cars. The other thing that is not talked about that is just so kind of what another little unreported expense is they're heavy. I mean, they're really heavy. Like the electric appliance charger was like over 4,000 pounds. It was like 4,500 pounds. It was heavy as hell. And that thing would eat tires. Teslas eat tires. I mean, you literally are replacing tires twice as often as a gas car because the weight of the car destroys tires. Now, I hate to tell everybody out there that loves electrics, but do you know where tires come from? Oil. Yeah, they come from oil, and so does the plastic panels that the car's made out of. That comes from oil also. So you're wasting a resource, tires, because your car is inefficient because it weighs 5,000 pounds, and you're destroying the tires faster, and now you're using that much. Benjamin, if it seems like natural gas is the future, but here now, if it burns clean and cars will last longer, it sounds great. Yes, it's just a little more complicated to do. But there's also another thing that's coming out. Ferrari and Porsche have made, and they spent their own research money. They've made man-made gas, and it's very simple to make man-made gas because gas is just basically hydrocarbons. And you know where you get a lot of hydrogen from? The air, because that's where a lot of hydrogen is in water vapor. So what they do is they harvest the hydrogen out of the air, and they make gasoline. Synthetic gasoline. And right now it's expensive, but you can literally do this in a facility that's the size of someone's house and make enough for a city. And it burns like natural gas because it's a pure hydrocarbon like natural gas, except it's readily available and you don't have to store it like natural gas. Because that's the one thing. Storing natural gas in large quantities is a little scary because it could go boom. This is actually a very efficient thing. This is why, that's another thing that we are. Oh, hi Tim Miller 260. How you doing? That's another thing that the EVs have actually robbed us of at this point. Besides making it harder for us to get parts, causing car manufacturers not to make things we need, or or being forced to make things we don't want but have to buy because you need a car. It's also slowed down the development of alternative fuels that actually would be more intelligent. Hydrogen cars are not a great idea. They're not a great idea because hydrogen all by itself is very dangerous. It is literally why the Hindenburg blew up. I mean, it was pure hydrogen because the United States wouldn't sell them helium. And this is by if we actually had this gasoline created, we would be able to run all the cars that we currently have. You wouldn't have to change anything. You could currently have them and not have to worry about switching something or doing something. But then, yes, Benjamin, ode to humanity. Yes, I know. The Hindenburg. But you would be able to actually go and keep using the car you have and actually not be making inside a puzzle who's trying to choke me at this point. The official mascot of DJ's Classic Garage, who looks really, really happy. The camera's right there, honey. Yeah, she doesn't care. But this is where we're kind of losing out because we've wasted billions, tens of billions on this boondoggle, and now we have nothing to show for it except a lot of companies that are going to go bust. Because even in Europe, this is, I mean, I did a little touch on this earlier, but even in Europe, they're even going, yeah, no, they're kind of already starting to change their tune because of the major manufacturers. So the 2035 thing's probably not going to happen, but and I guess as we get closer, it's probably going to just go away because here they're even talking about synthetic and biofuels because you can make diesel from algae. That also has been sidelined because of electric cars. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that have absolutely literally stopped development of usable vehicles because we have these electric appliances taking up resources. Synthetic gasoline is a possibility. It's theoretically, but it is actually. Porsche has been experimenting with e-fuel and has been making synthetic fuel at a plant in Chile since 2022 using water and carbon dioxide processed by wind energy, whatever, I don't care. So e-fuel is sold and produced in virtually carbon neutral manner. If it makes you feel good, that's great. But I know that Ferrari is also working on this too. And literally when you burn those things, there's complete combustion, just like with natural gas, because that's the one thing with natural gas is that when it burns, it's complete. And so you get water vapor and some carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is fine because it just make the trees greener. That's all it does. So let's start on the bloodletting here. This is my favorite company to pick on, Rivian, because I don't understand. It's like a meme stock. I don't understand how this company's still in business. They lose $1 billion plus a quarter. They make ugly vehicles. They make a pickup truck that if it gets hit in the back is totaled. But yet here they are still. And of course, it won the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, which means nothing because, well, I think the Chevy Citation also win the Car of the Year. The X platform. It is utterly just absolutely ridiculous that they lose. How much are they losing per vehicle? They lose $33,000 on every vehicle they sell. Last time they look, that's not good. I have a degree in finance, and when you lose $32,000 for every product you make, that's usually a bad thing. How this thing is staying in business is killing me. They're losing $1 billion a quarter. And it's like, oh, wow, it was originally, so it's come down. Now they're only losing 32. They were losing 124. Oh, but there's no break even point. It's just basically grifting at this point. And the only one that makes money is Tesla because they steal from the other manufacturers. They buy carbon credits. Or sell carbon credits. Let's see. Tim Miller. So this is why new trucks are planned junk too, off roads by 2030 and gender 30. Yeah. Yeah, Agenda 3030 is a whole that's a whole thing, and everybody out there should probably read about that because it's real. It was originally Agenda 2025, but they 2030, but it was they everything didn't work the way they planned, so then they had to no, and that's your 12-minute city. Yeah, 30K, yeah. And honestly, I don't know how they keep getting money. The thing is, they lose billions. They lose billions every quarter, and then and if you buy one of these, good luck actually getting anything done for it, because the company's losing money. Is absolutely. I mean, you have to be a fool because you have to basically think that your entire investment in that vehicle is going to go away. Because that's what happened to like Spiker and not Spiker. A few of the other electric appliance companies, they went out of business. You're done. You can't get a part for it. It's basically junk. Congratulations. Uh, Jamie Cotton 76962. How come there's no hybrid car with a combination with solar? Should not be no. Solar panels are not as efficient as you think they are, and honestly, it's going to take a few generations, if that, for them to actually be actually very useful. It takes a lot of solar panels to make enough energy to be worth the damn, and it's not good. Um, Vintage 76 Viper Beetle, Green Viper Green Beetle. Those Rivian trucks look nice. Put a hybrid. Yes, if it had a hybrid or a diesel powertrain, it'd be fabulous. But also the design though, because of the monocot. Let me put this. See this design here. If you get hit here in the back corner, this is all one piece. So it's not like a regular truck where the bed is completely separate, and it's smartly so, because then you can replace pieces of it. This thing actually is part of the whole structure. And so this gets hit. It's now $80,000. Replace it. It's totaled. Congratulations. You have a paperweight. You have a paperweight. So, nice and all, but it's useless as a truck. It's useless. I will challenge any of these. I'll tow my car. You could tow any car you want, and I'll tow you to Bowling Green and back, and I will beat you by about 2 days. I know that for a fact. Honestly, I'll tow against any electric truck, and with my 10-year-old gas powered F-150, and I'll beat you up and down the street. Benjamin 71. How's United States Postal Service still operating? They're losing $10 billion. Yes. They're doing it because smoke and mirrors. The government keeps the post office running. It's literally how it is. And there is a lot of the losses, a lot of bit of smoke and mirrors too, though, because the government makes them fund their retirement in a normal way, and they're upset by that. But this is kind of how you have to show it. Oh, G Canada, thanks for showing. How you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. So yeah, but yeah, they're just being propped up by the government. But there's a lot of accounting things that are kind of screwy with the post office. It's a mess. It literally is a mess. If you want to see how good government can run, look at the post office. It's phenomenally terrible, and I feel bad for the people that work there because it's not a great environment. But dear God, I mean, try harder. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. And the whole, it's just. Let's see. G Canada, try towing on electric in Canada in any cold weather in the winter. You absolutely nowhere. Edmonton, Alberta, put electric buses. Oh, forgetting it was 30 below all winter there. Didn't work. Nah, it's 30 below in Celsius. So that is in old money, because 40 is the same. So there's about 30. That's like 20, 25 in old money. 20 in old money. But yeah, no. Well, think about this in Florida. In Florida, it is near 100 degrees all summer. You have to run air conditioning unless you really hate yourself. And electric batteries burn up faster when it's hot. And you're also running you're running accessories, hard accessories. And I mean, honestly, I don't think you can tow 100 miles in Florida with a F-150 um, Lightning. I honestly don't think that you can. I don't think you can tow 100 miles in the summer with any of these in Florida. It's just you can't. Tow 7,000 pounds behind you and have your air conditioning on. I just can't. I can't see it. I can't see it surviving that. And this is why this grift is going to go away. Yes, Benjamin. They have nuclear powered robot reindeer in Canada. Yes, Canada, of course. So those buses couldn't work more than 2.5. Oh my God, hours in winter in Edmonton without needing a charge. The commie government there didn't think about this beforehand. 2.5. How long a bus route can you do in 2.5 hours? It doesn't sound like you can go very far. That sounds like a short trip to me. Let's see. Close. Yeah. So, yeah. So, to continue on, they wanted it to be like California, forgetting it was northern Alberta. Yeah, it's a little cold up there. 2 diesel Larry. There are no EVs with a Class 5 tow hitch. No, that would be good enough to pull it across the yard. I mean, seriously, because with a Class 5, you're towing what 25,000 pounds. No, you're not doing that with one of these. Not in the slightest. You're just not. You're just not. You're gonna actually see. And this is another thing that they don't tell you about these appliances is that they have cooling systems in them. They have to, and you have to maintain it. If the cooling system is damaged, and this happened on the Evokes, the Hyundai Evoque, they actually had one where the cooling system got damaged. It hit a bump, it cut it, and it didn't have a good pan underneath there to not have it get damaged. And guy went to go get it fixed, and basically the car got totaled because it was going to cost $90,000 to fix this $50,000 car, and you can't keep using it without a cooling system because if you've ever run like a cordless drill or anything, a cordless tool, and you ran it hard, it gets hot. That's what happens with these things. They get hot, and that's why you need to have cooling. That's why you need to have cooling things, because it's just too much. Let's see. Well, you're 1 ton. Yeah. His one. I think he can tow because the new ones, Jesus. I think he said 30,000 because that's with a 3,500 or he has a 4,500. It's somewhere I know the F-350s are near 30,000 pounds. When they're fully set up with a gooseneck, they're like 30,000 pounds. They're psychotic amounts of pulling power. Absolutely psychotic. And you could do that with the gas or the diesel. The 7.3 is an animal. I mean, it's just absolute animal of an engine. And so it's a lot. What you could tow with a 350, 3,500. Let me see. Let me pull that up. Max towing. Because 40,000 pounds now. Holy crap. So yeah, let me show you this. This is so yeah, you're not doing this with you're not. Oh God, I need the smaller one. Where's me smaller? There we go. No, that's not it. I hate this. So yeah, an F-350. Think about this. An F-350 can tow 40,000 pounds on a fifth wheel. You go try to pull that with a Cybertruck. That is crazy insane. That is crazy insane. And you can do 28,000 from the trailer hitch. That's 14 tons. Yes, and it is not too much for that chassis. Actually, no. Rating. See, the rating for towing is two factors for rating for towing. An engine really isn't one of them. The factors that they use for towing is the actual chassis of the vehicle. And the chassis on an F-350 is psychotic. It's square tubed. It is massive. It is utterly massive. The second is braking. The brakes on that are now like 14-inch. It's more like 14 inches, I think, up front. They have massive brakes on them. And literally and this is with a fifth wheel, which is putting the weight squarely in the middle of all the reinforcements because it's laddered. I mean, I look underneath my F1, just my F-150. I mean, the chassis in that F-150 is pretty stout, and it's ladder barred across. And I mean, my truck can tow 14,000 pounds. I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, 7,000, it tows it like nobody's business. It just literally goes down the road. So 40,000 easily. I have seen 350s, 3,500s towing that much weight. Literally in Florida, I have seen that a bunch of times where they are towing like this with those giant bales of hay. Bales of hay. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen quite a few of those. And also towing like, digging equipment. They can tow a bunch. 40,000 is max, but you want to do 80. I always do 80. They say 80%. I always do 80%. I would never do more than that. So even at 80%, you're 32,000 pounds. Oh, you tow 3,000 pounds with your truck, but it's overkill. You can have an F-150 do that. I'm sorry, Benjamin. You're getting a ton of. I'm sorry. I have no control over that. YouTube wants to make money off me. I'm not making any money, but YouTube's making money off me with the commercials. I'm very sorry. I have no control over commercials. I really don't. I think that they tried to make them less obtrusive. I hope. But yeah. I'm just here trying to. I'm just here trying to make my way on YouTube. I have to play by their rules. Sucks. Uh, uh, yes, G Canada, but honestly, with that truck, you can tow 30,000 pounds and not worry about it. You can take a full backhoe and put it on there on a gooseneck and literally just motor down the road. My truck, I've towed about 7,000 pounds with it. Didn't even notice it was there. It really didn't. I mean, it's rated for 14. I would probably do no more than 10. It's very easy. It's all the tow talk. Hotels everywhere are trying to get out our attention. Oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah. So here is here here's the final thing, because now that you and I are not paying anymore for the electric appliances for these people that want to be virtual singling everybody how much better they are than you because they drive something that needs a coal power plant to make it work. Uh, I honestly, this is the wonderful part about this. So according to this, this is August. Now you got to remember, this was from August, so there was still $7,000 on the table. So if you go and you add $7,000 to that, you're at $64,000 for something like this. This thing that if you bought the gas version is $32,000, and it's like the average price is $67,000, and the regular cars are $49,000. The average price of all cars, and that's including that elevated price there. Um, Yes, you can, and I mean, I wouldn't go 10's about the limit because I have a 14,000. I mean, I have almost 14-inch brakes in the front of my truck, and I have power stops. I have never felt unsafe towing my truck, and I'm a nervous Nelly. Trust me, I am a nervous Nelly. Now, if I had to tow a double trailer or something much bigger all the time, yes, I'd have an F-250 all day long. Um, it's just, and the other thing is trailer brakes. Trailer brakes are a necessity. You should always have trailer brakes. I have dual axle trailer brakes on mine, so it's fine. It helps. So, the Nissan Leaf is like $30,000, and I mean, honestly, it has no room on the inside of it. While the Mercedes is 106 for that virtual signaling. Um, and of course, because people wanted to virtual signal hard and get their $7,500, 146,000 of them were sold. But that's all going to go away because now that's gone there. So now you're going to not have this, and you're going to watch the actual sale of these things plummet like happened at Ford. But these things are extremely expensive, and this isn't even talking about that you have to modify your house. You have to have a house to own one of these. You can't have an apartment because there's no place to charge it unless you want to go to the gas station every day and sit there like a moron and for an hour and charge your vehicle. I mean, I see these people. I literally fill up my car, go inside while I fill up my car at Wawa, go inside, I go get a pretzel and a soda, and I come back out. Actually, an iced tea. Go get a pretzel and an iced tea, come back out, and they're still there. And I'm like, wow. And then I drive off, and they're still there. And it's absolutely insanity. So you have to modify your house. You have to put in the electrical for it. You got to pray that your neighborhood can handle that extra amount of electricity. You're running a dryer for 8 hours a day. Your tires are going to wear out within a year because your thing's so damn heavy, it's going to eat them up. Because they're not talking about it in here. Your insurance is probably going to go up because these things will destroy other cars. This Honda probably weighs about 4,500 pounds. The big SUVs, the Escalade electric appliance weighs almost 10,000 pounds. There isn't a guardrail in the United States that can stop it. So literally, if one of those loses control on the road, it will go through a guardrail completely and totally. It will clean it right off the bottom. And it literally is a disaster when you think about it. So these things, if you get hit by an EV, if it doesn't burst into flames and kill you, the damage it will do will be substantial because they are very heavy and they have low centers of gravity, which makes them incredibly good for puncturing right through things. So, I mean, these are long-term things that are on top of the expensive price to get them at first. Plus, now there's maintenance. You can't do anything on this vehicle yourself. You can't. There is nothing on this vehicle you can do yourself. Nothing, literally nothing. You have to go to the dealer all the time. Now your expenses increased tenfold because you can't touch it. As time goes on, you can't, if something is, not working right, you have to go to them. If the computer goes bad, you have to go to them. There is no aftermarket stuff that can be done to this vehicle. It does not exist. It literally ties you in. Plus, if you didn't pay your bill, you didn't pay your payment on there at all, they don't have to repo it. They can literally remotely turn it off. That's the thing that at this point really seals the deal of my dislike for these things. Tesla could turn your vehicle off at any time. Absolutely, they can. It has to be connected to the internet. It is connected. They're all connected. They can be turned off without even thinking about it. They can turn it off on you. So if you're behind on your payments, there's that. Let's see. Stellantis. Yeah, Stellantis. I saw this with oh God, what's his name? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. The big three guys kissing up trunk. I say, oh Lord. Yeah. Not enough though. They need more. because we need to go back to 1972. We can't keep this up. Yeah. Oh, yesterday I had Stellantis guy in the Oval was making fun of the Canadian government. Yeah, that was his predecessor that did that. Falona. Uh, and right now the jury is still out on Stellantis and their ability to do anything because honestly, I haven't seen anything. I hear a lot of nonsense from them. They're rolling the Dollar Tree BMW out. This production started on the Dollar Tree BMW, and their EV charger is mark my words, it will be cut. It will probably it will not make it past this calendar year. The 2026 will be the end of it. I can't see them continuing just to lose money on that vehicle. I mean, they've already lost a lot of money on that vehicle, but I imagine this third quarter sale, the fourth quarter sales are probably just as bad as the other 3 quarters. They'll probably sell 5,000 of those chargers. That's what I predicted they would sell. They're probably going to sell about 5,000 of those charger electric appliances. I did a video last year laughing at it, selling. They're probably going to sell 5,000 of them, and yeah. So with Stellantis, of the big three, I'll throw them in there. They're the one that's the most screwed at this point. General Motors has 2 new V8s they're making. They're ready to go to market with them. Hell, they're going to be running them out there. Ford has V8s running everywhere. They have them coming out their ass. They have V8. They could coyote everything if they wanted to because they have room. They can coyote everything. And then they also make a good V6. Regular gas powered V6 works perfectly fine. And so, I mean, Stellantis has nothing but the Pentastar V6 and the ancient Hemi that has lifter problems, and that's what they got. So yeah, and it's all because his predecessor wanted to make everybody happy in government and make electric appliances and get rid of cars that he sold 150,000 a year of. The Charger and Challenger were 150,000 vehicles a year, and they replaced it with something that's going to sell 5,000. And I know I did a video late last year on it, and it's just a disaster. Oh wow, Stellantis is spending $13 billion to Canada give them for battery cars to build an internal combustion plant in USA. It was just announced yesterday. 5,000 jobs in the USA. USA. Yeah, so that's how they roll. They know where their bread is buttered. I know Canada is not a very big market. I mean, that's why Ford and all of them in the 60s they had some small odd models that were up there we never saw, but because it's a small market. I mean, what is there, 50 million people in Canada? It's a tiny. I mean, compared to the United States, it's almost insignificant. And the United States is the biggest market in the world for actual consumption of cars, for high-end cars. China builds disposable things, and it's not a big market. In real terms, it's not a market that they really care about. They want to kind of sell stuff there, but the U.S. is the market that you want to sell things in, because that's why Ferrari wanted 3 F1 races in the United States. It literally is. I don't understand what that is. But there is a reason. I actually I did a video on Stellantis last year, and had somebody comment about China's a market that's closed off for the Chinese government. It literally is the Chinese government telling them what to buy, and everything's financed through the Chinese government. It is not an important market for actual real manufacturers of cars. Now you have the same cars. You used to have different things, and it was actually kind of cool. Now you just get the leftovers. At least Mexico gets their own cars. Mexico actually has the Chrysler 200 or something similar to the Chrysler 200 down there. You guys didn't get that, huh? And you probably don't, you don't have the Tipo. The Tipo Fiat that's what I had in Sicily. Phenomenal car, actually. Wish they would bring it here. They would actually sell a lot of them. Yeah, they do. Like I said, they have the Chrysler 200 still being made down there. And honestly, it's not a bad car. As long as it doesn't have the Pentastar 6 in it, because the Pentastar 6 is yeah. Yeah, and that's right. Up there, they sold Mercury trucks in Canada. Yeah, it was the only place that Mercury trucks were sold was in Canada. Strange, huh? I think that Chrysler they had done Plymouth trucks here, but then they continued Plymouth trucks. Oh god, they continued Plymouth trucks all the way up in Canada for a while. It was the place you just put weird branded stuff. I mean, I think Ford had their own line for Canada for a while. But Mexico, yeah. South America is actually getting the Dakota that we're not getting for any time in the near future. They're bringing out in Brazil. And yeah, so but yep, Toyota. Now the Toyota Hilux, I had heard rumors that I saw some in Italy. They have them in Italy. They're very popular. That the Hilux was going to come to America. I have a feeling it will. If the Hilux comes to America, all the small American trucks are in trouble. I mean, it's absolutely dead serious. It comes in regular gas, I think hybrid, and it's built like a truck. I mean, you can't kill it. It's typical Toyota. Unlike the new Tundra with the 3.5, which I would highly recommend no one buy. Stay away from the new Tundra. Just stay away from that. That turbo engine is a mess. I actually saw on I Do Cars, another channel here on YouTube, really cool guy. He actually got one of their engines and why it's failing, because they're not saying why they're failing. And actually I'll show you. What happens is it looks like Toyota had some bad machining, and it's not that they left stuff in there. That they actually made the main journals, the wrong size. And that is why they're spinning bearings. They are spinning bearings in brand new trucks because the bearings, the hole for the bearings. Here it is. Is this, yeah, here, 2026. Here it is. I'll take this one. I will show you guys this, because this thing, honestly, in America, this thing would be a rock star. This is the Hilux. This thing would absolutely it's a little different than the Tacoma. It's a little beefier than Tacoma. This would sell like hotcakes here. It's not that big. It gets very good fuel economy. It is cool looking. Toyota trucks usually are cool looking. But honestly, they would sell tons of these things here. And this thing is just an absolute, it's reliable because it's Toyota. Unlike the new Tundras, which are not reliable, and I would stay away from them. If you can, go check out I Do Cars. Like, do a search I Do Cars and do Toyota Tundra 3.5, because when he takes it apart and you see the bearings, the front two bearings on it are spun, and they're spun, and there's no oil starvation. No, there's no metal in this end. There's no metal on the top end of the engine, which is telling me that the bearing spun just because it wasn't machined properly, and there was nothing for it to grip, and it went around in a circle on the thing, and it was bad. Yes, I need to get Mr. Toyota as a guest. Yes, actually, there is a Mr. Toyota. No, I don't think you'd talk to my little podcast here. I don't think so. I'd like to, because he makes some cool stuff. I want the GR86 back. Toyota also didn't put enough piston oil ring drain holes in their V6 engines also. confused. The oil rings. What happened with Toyota is that they made pistons very thin, and the oil rings are not very robust, and you have blow by, and then it makes sludge because you're cooking the oil. Yeah, they've had a few clunkers in the last few years. But this engine, because they made them stop using the 5.7 because of fuel economy stupidity. The 5.7 was a race car engine. Yes, it would get 13 miles to the gallon, but Jesus, you could drive that thing 250,000 miles and not worry about it. It was absolutely, you just change the oil in that sucker, it will go. Um, oh, the old Top Gear, yeah, where they basically take that Toyota. It was Tacoma. It was and they was it a Hilux? All I know is they dropped it and it still ran. It's one of the greatest Top Gears ever. They tried to destroy the Toyota truck and they couldn't. But yeah, so and this is what all the these you say, well, how does this affect me? These rules for fuel economy, these pushing of electric cars. Um, it affects you. The Top Gear truck is in a museum. They couldn't destroy it. Um, it affects you because car companies have to make stuff that makes their standards, and because of that, um, they actually cut corners on things that made them reliable, and now you buy something that won't last that long. Like I would highly recommend never buying one of those Tundras, because I have now also seen stories where the replacement engine has a problem, and it's probably the same problem. There is something wrong in the machining of the block, and God knows how many of them are actually really done wrong, and when you'll find out, because if it's just slightly mishoned, maybe when you put a massive load on it, then it spins the bearings. But if it's massively mishoned, it will spin the bearings driving down the road at like 20 miles an hour. Tim Miller 260. It's funny that main car manufacturer I've got a machine. Well, big money, new ways to come here. Yeah. Oh yeah. They tried that. I don't understand why. Toyota's usually much better than this, but they really screwed this engine up big time. The Toyota 5.7 was the same as the Ford V6 4-liter Cologne motor. Couldn't kill it. Yep. Got terrible gas mileage, but change the oil and go mile per hour. Yeah. Well, the Toyota 5.7, if you look at the way it was built like a race car engine. Seriously. They did a lot of stuff that race car engines, high performance engines have. So you're not going to get great fuel economy from these things. You're just not. It's just not in the cards. But man, that truck will go and go and go, and it can tow a fair amount. For a Japanese truck, it actually was pretty stout. But the amount of time you can get out of it was amazing. 200,000 miles is almost nothing for those. Seriously, if you don't abuse it, absolutely. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Yeah. I'm just looking this up. Toyota Tundra. Let me get me back on here. Toyota Tundra. YouTube. Auto Evolution, I think, had the story. Let's see. Auto. Yeah. So, because I want to show you what this looks like. I can't type. Let's see. I can't find it. Darn. This is what happens when you try to do things on the fly. Here it is. No, this is old. Yeah, because so just go look it up. It's I Do Cars, and he does, and it's amazing. If you're interested in what happens when bearings spin on an engine, this will show you what happens when bearings spin. It's a mess. So Yeah, it's I can't find the article. I saw it earlier and I didn't save it, um, because he tore it down. So, yes, I do cars. Alright, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for the great conversation. Thanks for all the super chats. Oh, wait. And, thanks for moving it along. I'm sorry about the ads. God knows why the hell that happens. I had no control over it. But yeah, I will not have a show next week because, well, it's that time of year. It's Christmas time, and I have Christmas events. But I will have a show on the 18th, and I will have one on the 23rd, Festivus, and it will be an airing of the grievances because I seem to have a lot of problems with these car people. So we're going to have that. That's the schedule for the rest of the year. I will be doing a video tomorrow. I'll be filming it. I have a couple videos I'm working on right now, but I will be welding, and I'll show at anybody can weld because I've only been doing it like over a year, and I've fixed my garage door, and it's still holding. So I have just a lot of stuff, and of course I have new merchandise with this nice cool logo that the Intrepid Assistant helped me with. I think it looks cool, and you can for your Mopar friends. I have little sayings on the back. Yeah, see, like that. On the 8th day, God made 340. Things like that. So, and I have stickers. This is me just plugging at this point because I have to. See, I have really cool stickers. Look at that, man. You put that on your car. Look at that. Restore, repair, and drive. I'm not Tiggy. Actually, it's not Tig. I'm doing FluxCore. I'm learning on FluxCore, and I've actually gotten pretty good at it, and actually don't make it very messy. I use a little gel, and I use the spray, and it actually comes out not so bad. And then, I used a little 110. I'm only doing like 1/4-inch steel, so I can pound it in there, and it can be fine. So, yeah, that's what I've been learning on. Yes, ciao. Ciao, ciao. G Cannon, you only break stuff, no more fixing. Oh, I still fix. I fix. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll the video, at least one video out next week, maybe two, and we will not have a live because, well, I have things to do. And thank you all, though. I appreciate it. If you saw it on replay, hey, remember to hit the hype below. Do all your small channels you like. Hit hype below. Hype, please. YouTube has been basically banishing me to the basement of YouTube at this point, and I had to pay for my car habit. I had to pay to put gas in my car, and just because. So hype, like, subscribe, share this. Let everybody know, because I'm just trying to talk about what people just normally car guys talk about, because we talk about this stuff. Even if we have old cars, we talk about this stuff because it's what we do. So thanks a lot, and as always, if you have something cool or something fun to drive, take it out, because you're going to make someone's day, and it will probably be your own. And I will see everybody hopefully soon. If you liked what you saw, subscribe. If you didn't, thank you for watching to this point. And as always, if you have a cool car or something fun to drive, take it out. You'll make someone's day, probably your own.